There are plenty of SUVs in today's market. Some of them emphasize the sports side of things, others on the utility, while others focus on running your pockets dry with heavy maintenance and repair costs. Getting a new SUV is exciting, and so is buying a used SUV that gives you good value for your money over time. When you want to buy an affordable used SUV, the idea is to have a reliable SUV without having to spend a lot on maintenance. Buying a used SUV also helps you learn about common issues and which SUVs to stay away from. So before you go to your dealer to buy a used SUV, take note of these 10 unreliable SUVs to run away from. Take my word for it, guys. Run away from them. Number 1. 2015 Porsche Macan. The Porsche Macan is a luxury compact SUV, so you can get the pleasure of driving a big name. It's a strong 261 horsepower SUV that can go 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6 seconds flat. But if you use this SUV every day for 10 years, you'll need to pay more than $20,000 to fix and take care of it. That's about the third of the starting price, on just the repairs and maintenance. The first 5 years of fixes alone will cost you about $3,021, and the fixes for the next 5 years will cost you around $10,194. There's also a 61% chance that a major repair will be needed within the first 10 years, even for this Porsche model. The Macan often has issues like leaks in the thermostat housing, problems with the PDK transmission, and the water pump failing. Fixing these problems can be very expensive. Number 2. 2013 BMW X3. The 2013 BMW X3 is the worst version of this car ever made. It had a lot of problems with its engine and the parts that made it move. This car was not only not dependable, but it was also very expensive to fix. People who own the 2013 X3 might have had to spend more than a third of what they paid for the car just to keep it working. And when the car did break, which was very likely, the cost to fix it was even higher. The most common problems reported by owners of the 2013 X3 were parts called the timing chain guide breaking. The whole engine stopped working as well as the car stalling. Number 3. 2012 Dodge Journey. The Dodge Journey has quite some issues. One problem is with the remote keyless entry, which could just stop working at any time. People have also noticed water getting inside the cabin, making it wet. Another problem is the engine can get too hot and expensive to fix. This happens because dirt can get stuck in the cylinder head coolant port. The steering might become noisy when you turn it because the power steering pump could have problems. Sometimes the brakes also don't work smoothly because the brake system isn't calibrated correctly and it can shake when you use them. That's quite a number of issues, so if you love yourself, stay away from this SUV. Number 4. 2020 Acura MDX. You might be surprised to find a newer model of this SUV on this list. However, the Acura MDX, despite being the most expensive car here, isn't very dependable. Its bodywork isn't great, and it can develop minor transmission problems even with low mileage. These transmission issues include leaks, problems with the transmission sensor, rough shifting, and the transmission slipping. The original paint tends to get chalky, fade, peel, or crack. Plus, rust is a common issue with this MDX model. Fixing these problems and keeping up with the maintenance can be quite costly, so it's probably best to avoid the 2020 MDX altogether. Number 5. 2017 Buick Encore. The Buick Encore is a good choice if you want an affordable midsize SUV, but it's best to steer clear of the 2015 to 2017 models. These ones often have problems that can lead to a lot of repair and maintenance work. The engine can give you trouble, and the check engine light might keep coming on. The brake pedal assembly isn't very well made and the brakes themselves don't perform well because of the faulty master cylinder. You also might find the brakes wear out faster than they should. The climate control system can have issues with refrigerant leaks, and there might be some general electrical problems too. Before we move on to the next one, we've noticed quite a lot of you guys don't click the subscribe button. Come on, we drop interesting videos like this for you all the time. You sure don't want to miss out on them, so click the subscribe button below. Number 6. 2015 GMC Yukon. The GMC Yukon models from 2014 to 2017 aren't very dependable. If you have a 2015 Yukon, you'll probably run into significant engine troubles. A lot of people who own the 2015 GMC Yukon SUVs had trouble with their air conditioning breaking. This is a pretty big problem because fixing it costs more than $1,000, and it usually happens after driving around 65,000 miles. Another common issue people reported was the transmission. Many Yukon owners said their SUVs hesitated and had strange vibrations when shifting gears. But the most concerning problem with these SUVs was the taillights. Several GMC Yukon owners had their taillights stop working. You might not think this is a big deal, but these issues turned out to be a real headache. Many owners had these problems shortly after driving over 60,000 miles. At first, fixing the taillights seemed like it would be a small annoyance, but it ended up being an expensive repair. In fact, most people had to replace the entire light assembly, which cost more than $700. Some thought they could just replace the light bulb, but it turned out that replacing the whole assembly was the only way to solve the problem. Number 7. 2011 Ford Explorer. Ford Explorers have been the most popular SUVs for a long time. But you should be careful about certain Explorer models if you don't want to spend a lot fixing them. Even though you can buy a 2011 Ford Explorer for a cheap $6,000 now, it might cost you more later because it needs a lot of maintenance and repairs. Many people who owned the 2011 Ford Explorer had a problem with the car's acceleration. They said that when they pressed the gas pedal and the car went up to 60-65 miles an hour, dangerous fumes from the car's engine filled up the inside of the car. In some cases, this made the drivers and passengers sick from breathing in the fumes. Some owners also had issues with water coming to the inside of their SUVs. Most of the time, this water came in at the back of the car, running down the seatbelts in the third row of seats. Also, when it rained hard, the floor on the inside of the car would get wet with water. This model had issues with its transmission and drive system that often break and need expensive repairs. Also, the body of the car isn't very strong and the exhaust system has problems, so it's best to avoid this Ford Explorer model. Number 8. 2016 and 2018 Dodge Durango. Both of these Durangos are known for having lots of problems. In 2016, the Dodge Durango had a lot of customers who were not happy. They had big and small problems with the engine, like it getting too hot. There were also issues with the electrical system, like things not working right. In 2018, it was no better. This time, there were problems with the fuel system and also the car's brakes. The climate system was also faulty for both these model years. It's best to avoid these 2 years if you don't want to spend a lot of money on fixing them. Number 9. 2011 and 2012 Chevy Suburban. Many people who own a 2011 or 2012 Chevy Suburban worry about big problems with their engines. Sometimes, just changing the timing belt can help, but in other cases, you might need to completely rebuild the engine. The 2011 Suburban also had issues with its driving system and brakes. The 2012 model had problems with the transmission and the air conditioning system, and some people even had trouble with the suspension. So it's a good idea to stay away from these years of the Chevy Suburban, unless you want to spend a lot of money fixing these problems. Number 10. 2015 Cadillac Escalade. One of the issues with the 2015 Cadillac Escalade is with its third row seat, which can fold away to make more space for stuff in the back of the car. So how's this a problem, you may ask? But when it's folded, the floor goes up, which can make it tricky to stack things like suitcases, especially if you're going on a trip. But the worst problem is with the engine. People have reported hearing strange knocking sounds from the engine, and getting it fixed can cost a lot of money, anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000. Some drivers have also said that the engine loses power while they're driving. A lot of the complaints about the 2015 Cadillac Escalade have been issues with the engine and how the car drives. Some people have said the car shakes, jerks, and accelerates strangely, making it feel unpredictable. And if that's not enough, some Escalade drivers have also had problems with the brakes. It seems like this issue is connected to the vacuum pump, which can make the brakes less effective when the vacuum level drops. This means the car takes longer to stop, which can be very dangerous. And that's it from us, folks. Like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one.